Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers that the NBA has ever seen. You know, multiple 50-point games, multiple 40-point games, 60-point games. The three-level scorer that Carmelo Anthony is. He can ISO, he can post up, he can shoot from the three, he can shoot from mid-range, he can finish inside, has a great fadeaway. Today, I'm going to be taking the 2012-2013 Carmelo Anthony and building a modern championship team around him. Now, got this idea from JJ Redick, where he has $190 million to build the perfect 8-man rotation to win a championship. Now, I added a few of my own twists onto this. Now, I have to get him a second star, but it can't be a guy like Steph Curry, can't be a guy like Luka Doncic, can't be a guy like Anthony Edwards, SGA, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. It has to be someone who is going to be the clear-cut number 2 under Carmelo Anthony. Now, this is going to be a pretty decent team. I think this is going to be a very good team, actually. With Carmelo Anthony, he's going to be playing the 3. I want to put him into some right wing type of actions. I want to put him into some pin down screens to get him in the mid-range. I want to get him some isolation ball on the block, maybe work on some smaller wing defenders. But first thing I want to do is I want to get another guy who can attract the attention from the defense with the ball in his hand. And that started with the point guard position. I'm going to take D'Angelo Russell, making $18 million a year. I think with the way that Carmelo Anthony plays and the way that he can be introduced off ball, I think D'Angelo Russell is the perfect guy to put at the point guard position because D'Angelo Russell is so impactful on the screen and roll. We see it with the Los Angeles Lakers almost every game. D'Angelo Russell is a great three-point shooter. You can't necessarily go under the screen. So if he is driving, he has his man behind him, the center is forced to come up, or the defender on the right wing is forced to help on D'Angelo Russell. It either allows Carmelo Anthony to cut to the basket, it allows him to stay out for 3, and I think a Carmelo Anthony and D'Angelo Russell pick and pop could be so dangerous because if you help too much on Carmelo Anthony, D'Angelo Russell's going to burn you from the mid-range. If you help too much on D'Angelo Russell, either Carmelo's going to do a short roll, catch it from the mid-range, it's up and in, or he can drive to the basket with the weight and the length that Carmelo Anthony has. He's not going to get stopped in the paint. So I love D'Angelo Russell for our point guard for our team. Mind you, D'Angelo Russell is making $18 million a year. At the 2 guard position, I'm going to take Herb Jones. Now, I like Herb Jones for the simple fact is he can be that perimeter defender next to Carmelo Anthony. We know Carmelo Anthony was a little slow on his feet, was not the greatest defender. I think Herb Jones in the all defensive first team type of mindset that he has and the shooting that he possesses, whether it's the corner, whether it's the top of the key, he has really made some improvements with his jump shot. Now, I'm imagining an offense where we have Herb Jones in the corner, Carmelo Anthony on the right wing, D'Angelo Russell at the top of the key. We have our power forward in the dunker spot, and we have our center in the middle. We can either get a screen from Carmelo Anthony. D'Angelo Russell can drive right. They can help a little bit. Kick the ball to Herb Jones in the corner, or we can kick it to Melo. We also have our power forward in the dunker spot. I'm not going to reveal who that is just yet. So far, D'Angelo Russell's making $18 million a year. Herb Jones is making $13 million a year. Carmelo Anthony's making $51 million a year. So, at our power forward position, this is going to be my co-star, Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, the reason I like Jaren Jackson Jr., he is a former defensive player of the year. He's an all-star. He can average about 20 a game. He can give you 8 rebounds, plus Melo's 8 rebounds a game. And our center is a top 10 rebounder in the league. I think building the perfect defense around Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony's going to give you his 30. He's going to give you his 30 night in and night out. It's about having the role players who do the small things around Carmelo Anthony to the point where we're in June and they're playing in the NBA Finals. So I really like Jaren Jackson and his shot blocking ability, his rim protection ability, his defensive versatility to where he can guard the wing. He can maybe get a possession or two on a guard. I wouldn't throw him out there against a SGA or a Luka Doncic, but I would throw him on a D'Angelo Russell. I'm not trying to bash my own starting point guard, but I would throw him on a Kobe White, But Our starting center is going to be Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren's making about $4 million a year. And the reason I like Jalen Duren so much is because he's a big, strong guy who's averaging 10-plus rebounds a game. And I think if we're guarding a team like the Denver Nuggets, if we're guarding a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, Jalen Duren is strong enough to be able to put a halt in that first move that Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid is going to give you. Whether it's a shoulder to the chest, whether it's a spin move, whether he negates an offensive rebound, and plus we have a former defensive player of the year helping off and making sure Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic can't get that shot off. So my starting lineup right now is D'Angelo Russell at the 1, Herb Jones at the 2, Carmelo Anthony at the 3, Jaren Jackson at the 4, and Jalen Duren at the 5. Altogether, that is $112 million. So I still have $78 million left to play with my 3 extra bench players. So at the 6th man, we're going to take Malik Monk. Malik Monk is going to be my 6th man. I think Malik Monk is the perfect jolt of offense to come off the bench because we don't have a lot of guys that can create. Other than D'Angelo Russell and Carmelo Anthony, I'm not asking a lot of these guys to create. So bringing in Malik Monk, whether you want to put him in at the 2 guard for a possession or you want to really go defense and take out Carmelo Anthony, put Herb Jones in the 3 and let D'Angelo Russell and Malik Monk really cook for the offensive side of the basketball for maybe a few minutes in the third quarter while Carmelo Anthony's getting a rest, I think we can stay afloat while doing that, especially with the defense that we're going to be bringing in. So I love Malik Monk at our 6th man. He's making $9 million a year. At our 7th man, I'm going to be bringing in Jonathan Isaac. Now, the reason I'm bringing in Jonathan Isaac because he can guard 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5. He's going to give you about 20 minutes a night, but it's going to be probably some of the most impactful 20 minutes in the NBA, especially for a guy that's coming off the bench. He can play the 5 with his great rim protection. He can guard the 1 with his great versatility and the way he moves his feet and the length and how hard it's going to be to shoot over him. I love Jonathan Isaac as our 7th man. He's going to be our Swiss Army knife. He's making $17 million a year. And at our 8th man, we're going to have Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is the type of guy. Now, I halfway committed to the playmaking with D'Angelo Russell. I'm going full playmaking and defensive ability for Lonzo Ball. I think that this is the player to have off the bench who can really run an offense the second he walks on the court. Whether he's playing next to Malik Monk and Carmelo Anthony, he's going to be able to get those guys some shots. Now, don't get me wrong, Carmelo Anthony will be creating his own shots, but it won't be every play because he won't have to. He won't have to. I think we have 2 better playmakers than Raymond Felton and Allen Iverson. Better than those guys were at playmaking, at least. So, the reason I like Jonathan Isaac off the bench, just to give you guys a little bit of clarity, I like the versatility. Let's say we are playing a smaller team like, let's say, the Boston Celtics, who aren't really committed to that fully big lineup. We got guys like... They have a starting lineup of guys like Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. We would be able to maybe take out Jalen Duren for a few minutes, put Jaren Jackson at the center so he can be able to guard Kristaps Porzingis out there in the perimeter, and then bring in a guy like Jonathan Isaac, you could put him at the 4. And then Herb Jones and Jonathan Isaac, 2 of some of the best perimeter defenders in the league, are going to be guarding Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Carmelo Anthony may just have to guard Drew Holiday. And then we could put D'Lo on Derek White. It's all about matchups. The NBA is all about matchups. The Minnesota Timberwolves are down 3-0, and they just beat the defending champions. The playoffs are about matchups. If you have the versatility to beat the team in front of you, you cannot be counted out of a championship. And that's exactly why I have this team constructed. So let's talk about the team starting lineup all the way to the 8th man. At the point guard, we have D'Angelo Russell, who's making $18 million a year. At the 2 guard, we have Herb Jones, who's making $13 million a year. At the small forward, we have Carmelo Anthony, who's making $51 million a year. Power forward, we're going to have Jaren Jackson, who's making $26 million a year. Jalen Duren will be our 5, who's making $4 million a year. That is our starting lineup. That constructs of $112 million. Now, with the 6th man, we have not Jonathan Isaac. At the 6th man, we have Malik Monk making $9 million a year. At the 7th man, we have Jonathan Isaac, who's making $17 million a year. And at the 8th man, we have Lonzo Ball making $21 million a year. Let me know how many wins this team would get in a 82-game season. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what superstar you guys want to see next, and I'm out. Peace.